Some stories refuse to stay buried. Subscribe and enter the next mystery.
February 1959. The Ural Mountains. 9 experienced hikers set out for a peak called a Torten. They were students, athletes, some of the best-trained wilderness hikers in the Soviet Union. They had done this before. They knew these mountains. They never came back. When search teams finally found their camp, the tent had been cut open from the inside, and every single one of them had run out into the snow, in the dark, in temperatures of minus 30 degrees, barefoot. Their leader was Igor Dyatlov, 23 years old. Engineering student, experienced mountaineer. The kind of person you'd trust with your life in the wilderness. The group had hiked together before. They kept a journal, took photographs. They documented everything, the way careful, methodical people do. The plan was straightforward: trek to the peak of Torten, a Category 3 route. Difficult, but well within their ability. Return by the 12th of February. On the 1st of February, they made camp on the slope of a nearby mountain. A mountain the local Mansi people had a name for, Kholat Syakhl. In the Mansi language, it means dead mountain. That night, something happened on Dead Mountain, something that has never been fully explained. We know this because of what the search teams found, and what they found didn't make sense. When the search team reached the camp on the 26th of February, 26 days after the group went silent, the tent was still there. It had been sliced open from the inside, multiple cuts, made deliberately, from within. Whatever happened, they didn't unzip the door. They didn't open a flap. They cut through the side of the tent and they ran, all 9 of them, into minus 30-degree darkness. Without boots, without coats, without any of the equipment that keeps a human being alive in those conditions. Inside the tent, searchers found everything: food, untouched, boots, lined up neatly, warm clothing, folded. They left in such terror that they didn't stop to put on their shoes. Searchers followed their footprints down the slope. At the edge of the forest, beneath a large cedar tree, they found the first 2 bodies. No shoes, no coats, hands and feet burned in the middle of a blizzard. The branches of the cedar had been broken at a height of 5 meters. Someone had climbed that tree, in the dark, in the cold, in bare feet, to look at something. 3 more bodies were found nearby, on the slope between the tree and the tent, posed as if they had been trying to return, trying to get back to the tent. They had fled in terror. They didn't make it. The remaining 4 were found 2 months later, buried under 4 meters of snow in a ravine. And this is where it stops making sense entirely. The Soviet medical examiner filed his report. 2 of the 4 bodies found in the ravine had fractured skulls, massive fractures, the kind caused by extreme blunt force, but no external wounds, no cuts, no bruising on the skin. The force had come from inside, or from something that left no trace on the outside. The examiner wrote that the injuries were comparable to a car crash. One of the women was missing her tongue, her eyes, her lips. The official explanation was that soft tissue had been removed by scavengers after death, but the other body showed no such damage, only hers. Then came the clothing. When tested, several garments from the bodies showed abnormally high levels of radioactive contamination. Not background radiation, not trace amounts, abnormally high. The Soviet government offered no explanation for this. They simply classified it. The investigation was officially closed in 1959. Cause of death listed as an unknown compelling force. Read that again. The Soviet government, a government that prided itself on having an answer for everything, looked at what happened on Dead Mountain and wrote down unknown compelling force and closed the file. In the decades since, everyone has had a theory: an avalanche, Soviet military testing, infrasound from the wind causing mass panic, something stranger, something darker. None of them fully explain everything. The cuts in the tent from the inside, the burned hands in a blizzard, the missing tongue, the radiation, the crushed skulls with no external wounds. The man in the tree, 5 meters up, in the dark, in bare feet, looking at something. Igor Dyatlov was 23. Zinaida Kolmogorova was 22. The oldest in the group was 38. They were experienced. They were prepared. They were careful. And in the space of a single night, something terrified them so completely that they chose the mountain over whatever was in that tent with them. Russia reopened the investigation in 2019, 60 years later. Their conclusion? An avalanche. The cuts in the tent, made from the inside, were not addressed. The pass was named after Igor Dyatlov, a memorial, a reminder. Every year, people still hike to it. Most come back.
The next story begins in the dark. Subscribe to uncover it.